Man-eating lion attended the funeral of the wali of Allah. When the lion prostrated, all the people got goosebumps. What was the relationship between the lion and the wali of Allah? And how did he become a compassionate heart? Let's tell this story. There was a village near the forest. The people there practiced agriculture and kept cattle. They were only afraid of a terrible lion, because whenever the lion came to that village at night, the cattle would disappear from some house or the other. Children and old people were also attacked. There was panic in the village. The people of the village were very worried and always prayed to Allah that Allah would send someone of His own, a guardian or such a way to guide this lion and spare our children and animals. People used to come out of the house during the day and enter the houses in the early hours of the night. If any traveler had passed through that forest, his dead body would have been found in the forest in the morning. A few bones and blood-stained clothes were found for many people. One day, Allah's grace was such that a man of Allah passed away in that village. When it was time for namaz, he thought that namaz should be offered under the tree. His face was bright, he was wearing a white robe, and he had a tasbih in his hand. When some people of the village saw Al-Wali sitting under the tree, they ran and tried to explain him. "O Elder of Allah, there lives a terrible lion here who does not let any traveler go empty-handed. His body is found in the morning, so you should find somewhere else. Otherwise, you may die." Allah was busy in worship. He raised his head after praying and said with a smile, "Well, let's see what the dreaded lion does today. I will sit here and pray to my Lord because I have come to this village by the command of Allah." Tears came to the eyes of the villagers. Those people gathered around Allah Wali and narrated their story while crying. God looked at the sky, took a deep breath, and started saying that I used to hear the cries of the children of this village in my dreams. I decided that this village needs you a lot. Don't you guys worry. People's hearts were relieved by Allah Wali's arrival in the village. The darkness of the night had spread. Allah was busy in dua. He prayed alone under a tree at night. May Allah make this spoiled animal better, and pray for me to sit here. Shame on you. It wasn't long before the roar of the lion was heard. His eyes were getting red, and he seemed to be craving some human flesh. As soon as the roaring lion came close to Allah, and hearing his recitation, he stopped his steps and sat down. Tilawat's voice was so beautiful that all the birds were fluttering. When the lion heard the tilawat, instead of attacking, it sat quietly and looked at Allah Wali in surprise. When the people of Allah finished worshipping, they looked up and saw the lion sitting at their feet like an innocent child. Allah smiled and extended his hand. "Come, my child. I will show you the path of Allah." It was the same lion who was a terrible beast. Hearing his name, children used to get excited. His eyes are red, the marks of wounds on his body, and the same brutality in his movements. That night, he went out in search of a prey. But today, he was faced with a friend of Allah, and not a common man. The lion tried to roar many times, but no sound came out. His legs started shaking. He retreated for a moment, but then his eyes fixed on the old man's hands. Those hands who only prayed, on whom there was neither blood nor oppression but light. God slowly opened his eyes. His eyes met directly with the lion's eyes, and that moment stopped. "Oh, people of Allah, I was waiting for you for a long time. You came today." The lion was stunned. He was the king of the jungle. Today, Ajiz became quiet, like a child. God extended his hand. "Come on, my child. You must be very tired." The lion slowly bowed his head, and then he hugged the feet of Allah Wali with his heavy body. As a child lies in a mother's lap, her tears began to fall. Yes, that horrible beast was crying. Allah waved his hand on his head. You are also a creation of Allah. Maybe your soul didn't find a way, but now it will. That night the lion stayed there. The people of Allah kept reciting tilawat with him, asking for dua, and the lion silently looking at them as if he was taking every word in his heart. The night passed, and when Fajr was called, Allah said to the lion, "From today, you are not just the king of the jungle. You are the guardian of peace. Whoever hears the name of my Lord and who bows down will never be a beast." The lion looked up at the sky and took a long breath, as if the burden of centuries had been lifted from his heart. From that day, that lion changed. He no longer roars or attacks anyone. He became just a shadow. When the villagers saw this scene, they all prostrated and thanked Allah that prosperity has come to our village. That time passed. The lion, who was once a fearsome beast, now he used to sit at the feet of Allah and engage in worship. People were surprised to see that this lion no longer harmed humans, but used to pass by them and go into the forest after seeing their animals and children. The villagers were no longer afraid of the lion, but of the silence without him. But Kaudat had something else in mind. One day, Allah wali got high fever. Their color. It started to turn yellow. The voice became quieter, but the same light remained on the face. All the men, women, children, and elders of the village joined his service. One day in the evening, Allah called the imam of the mosque and a few elders of the village with a gesture of his hand. His face had the same light, the same shape, but there was a pain hidden in the voice. "Sit down, my sons. Listen to the things that are entrusted to God." Everyone sat quietly. Allah wali gently said, "My time is near. The message I brought here has been conveyed to you, but you will not lose heart after my departure. Trials will come. They will try to weaken you, but don't give up. Just remember the Lord." Tears continued to flow from people's eyes. The women of the village were reciting prayers, and some children were silently hugging the feet of God. God looked up at the sky as if waiting for some divine message. Then again, he looked at the people and said that a special friend will attend my prayer and funeral, but he will not be like you. He will neither be a human being nor a scholar, but he will be a servant of Allah. The villagers looked at each other in surprise. He will come quietly to my funeral. We'll prostrate. We'll ask for dua. You need not fear, because he will come as your protector. A man panicked and said, "Will it be a lion?" The same horror. Allah smiled and slowly said, "Yes, the same lion you used to call a killer. But today, he is going to mention Allah." Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Allah raised his hands and said, "Remember, whoever Allah guides is not insignificant." That night, the lion sat near Allah. The moonlight was falling on him, and there was a strange pain in his eyes, as if he is listening to everything, understanding, and getting ready for something from the heart. Allah wali's health worsened. The villagers tried every dua and trick, but the disease progressed. Finally, one night, a little before Fajr, God slowly opened his eyes, departed from this world with tasbih tami and a faint smile. Silence fell on the whole village. No child gave adhan in the mosque, no bird chirped, and the lion sat silent near the dead body. Suddenly, there was a loud roar, as if someone had ripped his heart out of his chest. The villagers were wrapping Alawal's body in a white shroud and keeping it on the cot. The imam of the mosque announced that namaz janazah will be offered after Asr. People started coming in droves. In the villages of Ardgird, some old students, some travelers, All then one question started echoing in everyone's mind. Will that lion come? Some people thought. Some children agreed. Some women started asking for prayers. The cot was taken to the cemetery. The color of the sun had turned yellow. Like that is also annoying. The imam fixed the cleaning. People stood in queue. Then that scene also came. The lion became visible, step by step, slowly bending the neck. Some people's steps began to waver. A woman was about to scream when the imam called out, "Stop! God had already said, 'This is our guest. Don't be afraid of it.'" The lion came and sat near the funeral. Slow sobs were coming out of her throat. He glanced at the face of Allah Wala, which was out. Everyone hears the same voice in the dream. Whoever among my creatures changed his nature for me, I changed it with my mercy. This lion was amen to my message. Now, people had built a tomb on the grave of Allah. The rush of people was increasing at the grave. The people of the village started coming from the nearby countryside or distant cities for pilgrimage. Fatiha, Dua, Tasbih were used on the graves before. But now a new color started to rise. Some people would put sheets on the grave. Some would take the mud in their hands as a blessing. Then the Ahista grave became a place of worship. And the most surprising thing was that some people started calling the lion near the grave as Baba Sher. Baba Sher is sympathetic to everyone. Baba Sher's prayer is accepted. In the footsteps of Baba Sher, what is sought is found. Even some women would bow before the lion with their sick children. Some people touch the lion's claws and touch their foreheads and say, "We have come to your door. Baba, have mercy." The lion remained still as if he was seeing everything, understanding and burning inside. For many nights, he used to circle around the grave in desperation. Sometimes he looks at the grave and sometimes at the sky. He did not care about all this, but he didn't like it. He could not say anything because he was speechless. But then came the night that changed the fate. The same grave, the same lion, and deep moonlight in the sky. The lion fell asleep near the grave, with a storm in the heart, and then the door of the dream opened. Once again, the people of Allah were in front of him. Jalal and love of love on a face shining with light. The lion bowed as if he knew there was more to hear. Allah Wali said in a strict tone, "What is happening, my child?" This was not the message we left. These people started calling us. They forgot God. They started bowing in our steps, abandoned the sajda of the Lord who gave us respect. The lion raised his head, embarrassment, helplessness, and tears in the eyes. Allah Wali said, "Are you faithful to me? You read my funeral. Now is the time to protect my grave, to save my message." The lion lowered his eyes. Allah slowly placed his hand on the lion's chest. "By the command of the Lord, you are being spoken to today." At that moment, the lion's body lit up and he wanted to roar. But now the alphas were hidden in that roar. Go show the people the path to Tawheed, and the dream is over. There was a fair in the village. People gathered around the grave. Some were kissing the grave. Some were calling the lion as Baba. A woman prostrated before the lion. Then that moment came. The lion roared loudly, but that roar was no longer a roar. The voice became, "Hold on, guys." There was silence. Everyone's steps stopped. The eyes froze. The tongue stopped. The lion slowly came between the people and said, "What are you doing?" The person in whose feet you are bowing is himself bowing in prostration, day and night. The one whom you are calling is himself, calling to God in every breath. A male screams that the lion is talking. The lion looked at the sky. It is the grace of God that it may be explained to you. Tears began to drip from the lion's eyes. He pointed to the grave. This is the grave. This is the place of God. But this is the point of advice, not worship. Love them, respect them, but do not forget God. That is the hard part. The same is true. People huffed and puffed, as if the ground had stopped. The lion screamed, "Do not participate. Now, do not associate anyone with the Lord who made me your protector." I was a lion. I was fierce. The same Lord became the watcher of the creatures. And today, you have made the friend of Allah your Lord. A woman shouted, "Forgive us, Baba Sher. We were lost." The lion's alphas came out trembling. "I am not a father. I am just a servant of Allah." At that moment, clouds appeared in the sky. Lightning flashed, and a faint light emanated from the grave, as if Allah is smiling and saying, "My child, you delivered my message," and the whole village fell in prostration. After that day, people gave up shirk. The lion who used to only prey on the grave now moved away from the grave and started sitting near the mosque. He was no longer the form of a father, but a sign of guidance. Time passed. The lion had now become a skeleton of bones, living in the shadow of the grave. His eyes were wet with tears, not fear. He no longer hunted or roared. Whenever people came near the grave, he would sit quietly. A guardian is a witness, like a faithful servant. Children would come and play with him, and women would address him as Baba Sher. But every time he lowered his eyes as if saying, "I am not a father. I myself am the seeker of bakshish." One day the condition of the lion started to deteriorate. His breath began to rumble. He was crying and looking at the sky. Suddenly, his eye caught. He sees that God again in his dream. The same face, the same light, the same smile. Those of Allah come close to the lion. They raise their hands and say, "My child, your time is near. You delivered the message that was promised to you. Now back to my steps." Tears began to flow from the lion's eyes. "Sheikh, will my Lord accept me like this?" I was terrified. The people of Allah laugh and say, "Why is the mercy of the Lord, who sent the message to Pharaoh through Moses, not on you? You spoke against polytheism and did what many people could not do." The lion woke up startled and prostrated in his dream. "O my Lord, you made the beast a slave. Accept me." The next day, the sun was a little hazy, as if the sky was hiding some regret. When some people came near the grave, they saw the lion lying in eternal sleep. No roar, no movement, just relaxation. Someone said quietly that Baba Sher is no more, but an old man stood up. No, it was not Baba. He was a servant of Allah. Give it the respect a good, loyal animal deserves. It prevented you from polytheism, saved your races. Tears came to people's eyes. It was decided that the lion should be buried at the steps of Allah's grave. His body had become lighter, as if his soul had already ascended. As soon as the grave was dug, a faint light emerged from the grave. Someone said, "Allah is smiling. He is praising his faithful." The lion was brought down to the ground. People were reciting prayers, and for the first time, only the name of Allah was on everyone's lips. People could not forget the lion anymore. Where earlier lamps were lit, now the Quran was read there. Where earlier threads were tied, now there was prayer raised. People had learned to respect the wali of Allah. But one day, a child came to the grave. He was a lion. He told us that he was not a helper. Why do we ask for prayers? They understand that the person lying under the soil can do everything is no mother. Now I will ask only Allah. And the lion's grave became a sign of guidance, truth, and monotheism. But at the same time, this message was also left. O people, do not make graves a place of worship. Allah guides. They do not become gods.